Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. So it's all kicking off in Lebanon, guys. Looks like we might be hitting a civil war soon. I'm going to explain why this has happened. I'm also going to be explaining about another attack on Iran. So the United States has blown up more radars, more drone systems, and a communications tower in Iran today. I'm going to explain why that's happened as well, and whether Iran will fight back. I'm also going to be talking about China's 9/11. Looks like some plane hit a tower in Beijing. So I'm going to be talking about that as well. And I'm going to be ending it with talk about Bitcoin as well. So without further ado, guys, don't forget to like and share, and check out my new channel, by the way. So make sure you join my new channel, guys. This is my new channel, Multipolar World Order. And as you can see, there's a lot of videos there that you probably haven't seen. Look at the number of views I get. I get an average over 1,000 views, and sometimes more, sometimes less. And I want to show you how many subscribers I've got. And you can see my latest video about the rise of Chinese universities focusing on AI. That's got 1.2 thousand views. And you can see my channel subscribers is 1.3 thousand basically. So what does that mean, guys? It means I'm getting a 1-to-1 ratio with my number of views and my number of subscribers, which means all of my subscribers are watching all of my videos. That's what it means. So everyone that's joined my channel, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are my loyal friends and buddies. I will never forget you guys. I really appreciate you joining and supporting my cause. And if you haven't joined, make sure you guys join the family. I'd really appreciate it. We are doing a good thing, guys. It's much better to have a 1-to-1 ratio in YouTube. What I mean by that is much better to have, say, 1,200 or 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers, but they watch all your videos all the time. It's much better to have that than to have 30,000 subscribers and only 1,000 or 2,000 watch all my videos. Do you know what I mean? One stat is 100% and the other one is less than 5% or 10%. Anyway, let's get back to the news, guys. So what do we have here in Lebanon? Looks like there seems to be some protests going on in Lebanon. Why is there protests going on in Lebanon, and violent protests? As you can see, there's cars burning and lots happening in Beirut. So, well, this happened because Marco Rubio and Israel, I think it was Netanyahu, and the puppet regime in Lebanon agreed to a deal without consulting Hezbollah, without consulting Iran, and without consulting the Lebanese people. They basically surrendered to Israel. They gave Israel all of the southern territories. Israel only, pulled out of certain territories where it was getting hit by Hezbollah. Those areas, they were taking huge amounts of damages, so they decided to leave those. Areas, but majority of the villages, Israel is going to take. And the puppet Lebanese government allowed that to happen. They just said, yeah, fine, take it, it's yours. So obviously the people are not very happy with that, because the Lebanese government, they are pure Israeli shills. I wouldn't be surprised if they're all, Israeli or Jews. So they've obviously been put there, to be friendly towards Israel. And I don't know if you guys remember me doing a video about the top 15 puppet nations. And this video was in my new channel, so if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go there and check it out. It's the top 50 most puppet nations, and Lebanon came to number 2. And this proves exactly why. This exactly proves my point. These Lebanon puppets, despite Israel bombing and killing civilians throughout Lebanon, these Lebanon puppets just gave Israel whatever he wants. And then the Prime Minister of Lebanon came out and was thanking Trump. He didn't thank Iran. He was basically thanking Trump, thanking Rubio, and thanking Israel. His real masters. So I'm really glad the people of Lebanon are waking up finally, and they are seeing what shills these governments are. There's no room for these type of puppets in Lebanon. These are what you call traitors. Well, obviously Hezbollah's not happy with it, so they'll carry on fighting. Iran is definitely not happy about it because the Prime Minister came out not even thanking Iran for what Iran did to help Lebanon. Iran was the only country that was trying to help Lebanon stop Israel from attacking it. But these puppets are basically thanking Trump and thanking Netanyahu. How much of shills do you have to be? Luckily, there are intelligent people in Lebanon, and that's why they're standing up against this puppet regime. So, there's been another explosion in Iran, guys, and it was a pretty big one. Communication towers have been destroyed. I think there was a drone storage factory that got destroyed. Radars got destroyed. And yeah, so this ceasefire isn't working, guys. I made another video about this maybe like a week ago, and I said to Iran, you are losing your leverage, guys. You are absolutely losing your leverage. You are letting Americans do whatever the hell they want. Back then when Iran had all the leverage, they shouldn't have gone into the ceasefire. They had all the leverage. They had oil prices at an all-time high. They were well above $100 a barrel. And you had, America and Israel on the ropes. They were running out of anti-air missiles. They were really, the economy was about to, crash. They were really desperate. And I'm pretty sure if Iran carried on, America would have just packed its bags and left. So Iran doing the ceasefire, what is allowed? They've allowed America to rearm. They've allowed America to reposition itself. And look at these explosions. They are massive explosions. And where do you think these attacks are coming from? They're probably coming from some GCC, base. So those bases are still operational. If that war was still going on, I bet you that those bases would have been destroyed, or they would not be allowed to fire from those bases. So why is Iran allowing this? They've lost all of their leverage, guys. All of it. Sometimes, I think that Iran, obviously, they're good fighters and, they've done well in the war, obviously fighting America and Israel. But from a distance, from where I'm standing, it looks like America is outsmarting them. That's what it looks like. They're using the cover of the ceasefire, and they're doing these attacks on Iran one by one. If you guys remember, America attacked Iran last week or week before, and they're taking out, facilities. They're taking out important stuff from Iran. They're taking out radars. They're taking out communication towers, drone factories. These are important targets. And what's Iran doing in return? Nothing. Because they're still stuck under the ceasefire. This is what Israel has been doing in Palestine and Lebanon. They force a fake ceasefire and they carry on attacking. That's what they do. I thought, I thought Iran would be much cleverer than that, guys. I am so disappointed. They're losing all of their, really good leverage that they've had all these months, and they're just giving it away. I don't know, guys. I think like I made this video a few weeks ago, and I said to you, the people who attack first, they always have the first attack advantage. Because America would have looked at these targets, they would have set up all of their defenses, then they would have attacked these targets, they would have had their time to plan these attacks, and now they just sit back and relax because Iran won't do anything. I think I saw a statement from Iran saying they've already attacked. If they've already attacked, why don't we see any explosions? I don't know, guys. I think America has outsmarted Iran again, and Iran has let them, basically outsmart them. Do you remember when Trump was trying to do a ceasefire in Ukraine with Russia, and Russia refused? This is why, guys, you cannot trust these people. They are snakes you're dealing with. This is why Russia didn't want a ceasefire in Ukraine, because it would have been another one of these situations where Russia will be held under ceasefire while Ukraine and the West will carry on attacking Russia. They will regroup, rearm. Well, this is what happened in Ukraine. Russia in 2014, they had Ukraine on the ropes. They were ready to win that war very easily. Then France and Germany came along, and obviously with the help of United States, they forced a Minsk agreement, well, two Minsk agreements. And in that time, they armed Ukraine to the teeth. And now Russia's job is much harder, 100 times harder, because Ukraine is armed to the teeth now with, lots of training, lots of equipment, lots of money coming from everywhere. So if Russia did that job back then, they would not have to, do the same job with, lots of Russian lives this time. And the same thing happened in Syria. They had ISIS on the ropes, guys. ISIS was running away and hiding in Idlib. And at that time, Syria, Iran, and Russia were fighting together against ISIS. So when ISIS ran off to Idlib, there was a chance to completely flatten Idlib and completely take out ISIS. And I believe Trump was the president at the time. So he called Bashar al-Assad, and he said he wants a ceasefire in Syria. And Bashar, he basically agreed to it. And because he agreed to the ceasefire, those ISIS guys got rearmed. They repositioned themselves, retrained, and then 10 years later, they attacked Syria and they took over Syria. So can you see the danger of ceasefires, guys? I thought Iran would be much smarter than this, guys, seriously. They have such a great advantage and such a great leverage, and they just ruin it all now. I really hope Iran would just cancel the MOU and just say, you know what, guys, this war is not going to end in the ceasefire, it's going to end in the battlefield, so let's go. Winner takes all. That's the only way. It's the only way these demons are gonna learn their lesson in the battlefield. Otherwise, they'll never learn their lesson, guys. They're never gonna, keep the word on the ceasefire. Never. So there's a statement here. It says IRGC argues the U.S. encouraged a violation clause 5 of the MOU by pushing ships through the transit. So it seems like America has been pushing their own ships to go through the Strait of Hormuz without paying any tolls, and they've been going along the Oman coast, because the Oman coast is at the south of the Strait of Hormuz, and that pathway is quite clear, so they have been taking ships through there. So Iran fired some warning shots at some ships, and in return America just started attacking Iranian ports and radar installations and stuff. That's where you see all these explosions. So let's talk about China. China seems like they've had their own, September the 11th. Some small plane hit the Beijing, one of the Beijing's tallest towers, and it looks like they've created some sort of hole. So luckily the building didn't fall. Obviously the building is much more secure than the Twin Towers. But thankfully nobody got hurt, unless apart from the people in the plane. So, and China basically refuses to allow planning permission for any building that goes beyond a certain height. And China knows this is why they are very, very vulnerable to planes, to missiles, to drones, because China is still in a situation where any war can happen around them. There could be a war over the Taiwan Strait. There could be a war with Japan. There could be a war with Philippines. There could be a war with United States, South Korea. Any war could happen in that region. There could be a war with India. So you see, guys, and having high-rise buildings, it really is a big risk, because your enemy can target them and kill huge amounts of civilians and cause great damage. So I think this is why China put a limit on high-rise buildings, because of this particular risk, and I agree to it, and I think it should be lower, to be honest. I think that height should be much, much lower. Yeah, so yeah, I think one of the other things China needs. I have read that China doesn't allow drones and stuff to fly over government buildings, but I think this drone ban and small airplanes ban should be banned from these major cities in China. If they need to fly around, they need to fly around, but not fly in the city. Oh, sad news, guys, sad news. Anyway, let's move on. So who still has Bitcoin? Who follows Bitcoin? So there's a guy called Michael Saylor. I don't know if you heard of him. And he owns a company called MicroStrategy. And what he does, he buys Bitcoin. He buys it in like dollar cost averaging. So which means it doesn't matter if it goes up or down, he still buys Bitcoin. He's got hundreds of billions worth of Bitcoin, dollars worth of Bitcoin that he's been accumulating for years. And recently Bitcoin has gone down, and I think he's got a major loss between 16 billion to 20 billion. And he's losing a lot of money, guys. And he also has to pay his dividends to his investors, shareholders, and things like that. But he doesn't have any money because all his Bitcoin money has been is been lost. So imagine this: if his company goes bankrupt, that's hundreds of billions worth of Bitcoin will just disappear. Well, it won't completely disappear, but you know what I mean. This company will be gone. It'll be bankrupt. So let's look at the price of Bitcoin over the last 10 years or so. You can see the first Bitcoin cycle started at 2017, sorry. And then it crashed. It did a mini crash. Then its next cycle was in 2021. So the cycle happens every 4 to 5 years. You can see here 2017 and 2021, then 2025. This cycle happens every 4 years. So according to this, the next cycle will be 2029. However, the price of Bitcoin has reached 59,000 from a height of 120 or 130,000 like 6 months ago, or maybe like a year ago. Yeah, a year ago, apologies. So a couple of things can happen. It can bounce back to its all-time high, which is unlikely, or it will go down to around 40,000, where it's most likely will hit that bottom black line that you see. So that line will hit around 40,000, and then it will shoot up. If you got any to sell, just get rid of it, sell it, because I think it's going to go down even more. And it won't come up for a long time. It won't come up for at least another three years, maybe 4 years, or maybe, yeah. I mean, depends really. I don't think it will come back up while Trump is in power. I can tell you that now. I think it might come back up if there is a good president in 2028. That might give it a nice boost, because before Trump became president, the Bitcoin market gave itself a very good boost that time. I believe Biden was in power, but everybody knew Trump was going to come in. Everyone thought Trump was going to be pro-friendly to Bitcoin and stuff. So the Bitcoin market was really doing well before Trump came in. Unfortunately, it pretty much crashed after Trump, and Trump has been also, doing a lot of dodgy dealings with his Trump coin and Melania coin. He seems to have scammed a lot of his own followers. So anyway, let me know what you guys think, guys. This is it for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now, guys. Bye bye.